Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about some things that I don't like in my books. These are tropes, these are story elements, these are, writing styles that just don't jive with me. If I see them in a book or in a blurb, I usually steer clear of that particular book. Just a note of clarification, in this video, I will be talking up some spoilers, so I'm gonna try to be as vague as possible, but I would like to give you some examples of books with these tropes to the best of my ability. However, some of them I cannot really give you an example without spoiling a book, so I will make sure to have big spoiler warnings if we do delve into the realm of spoilers. So these aren't in any particular order, but I think this one might be the one that makes me the most angry when I come across it, and it was all just a dream, or none of what you just read mattered because we reversed time and it never even happened. Something along those lines. This feels like such a slap in the face. As a reader, we spend, an entire book or sometimes an entire series with these characters, following them along on their adventures and watching them go through these struggles, just to have it all reversed in the last chapter or the last couple of chapters. It was, oops, just kidding. That makes me so angry, and for a lot of reasons I don't hear about it because it's obviously a spoiler, right? Like, it's at the end of a book series or a book, so people don't talk about it with the fear that they're going to spoil the book. But please spoil books for me if they have this trope specifically, because I don't want to read it. I just feel so cheated as a reader with this type of storytelling device. I'm going to steer clear from it. The second trope that I dislike is a romance trope that I have recently discovered that I don't like, and that is an accidental pregnancy or a hidden pregnancy or a secret child. So accidental pregnancy and a hidden pregnancy often go together, where a character, a couple accidentally gets pregnant, and then typically the woman, the person who got pregnant, hides it from their partner for whatever reason. I hate this. I hate this so much. When I'm reading a romance book, I want smut. I want cute couple interactions. I want, those are the things that I want. I don't want a baby in the picture to blur the lines or to make it a romance that I just don't want to read. Maybe that's just it. And then the last one is a secret child. So a secret child is where one of the characters in the romance has a child, and then they don't tell their partner about them having a child until later in the book. I feel like you should be upfront with your partner always, and hiding the fact that you have a child from your partner and then telling them later just feels maybe a little manipulative to me. And that's maybe this whole trope. These three tropes kind of lumped together. It just all feels a little manipulative, one way or the other with the partners. I really don't like it. And this is the spoiler part. If you don't want to see spoilers, skip to the third trope. But the accidental pregnancy and the hidden pregnancy, a book with this is A Sweet Mess. I really didn't like this romance book. And then the secret child, an example of this is actually The Bride Test by Helen Huang, which is really disappointing because I love Helen Huang's other book, The Kiss Quotient. It feels manipulative to me. So, end of the spoilers. Let's move on to the third trope. This third trope is not necessarily one that I hate, but it's one that I'm just a little tired of seeing. I've read as a big fantasy reader, I have run across this trope a lot, and I'm just a little tired of it. And that is like the hidden royalty, the lost royalty, or you're a secret royal in some way. So you didn't know you were a princess or a prince or whatever, or you're hiding your identity as a royal to like blend in with society or whatever. I've gotten older and read more and more fantasy books, I'm just finding myself steering clear of those types of narratives. If I hear a synopsis of a book that has this trope in it, I might avoid it. Not because I think it's going to be bad, but I'm just like, my reading tastes have shifted so much in the last couple of years that I want different types of fantasy stories. Number 4 is a big overarching topic of miscommunication. I think a lot of people don't like miscommunication in their books, and I am no exception. Miscommunication, specifically when one character hiding something from another character because they don't want to upset them or hurt their feelings, and it causes like plot issues. That's when I think it's a problem, is when the miscommunication causes the plot to drag on. It's not the move. It's not what I like to see. It's not what I like to read. And of course, this is something that I find in fantasy as well as in romance. It's kind of a cross-genre issue for me, is if two characters miscommunicating like drives the plot forward or just adds more drama, it's gonna feel really stale and contrived to me personally. Ooh, this next one makes my blood boil. And thankfully, I have never come across it personally because I've seen people talk about it with specific books, so I know to avoid it. But this trope is when an author uses a character's gender identity, disability, or their race as a plot twist. For example, in some thriller books that I've heard about recently, there was a specific book that I can think of off the top of my head where there is a character who passes as white, who is actually, they were black all along and they were the killer. And that's the climax of the book. That's supposed to be the twist. That is not okay. That is so not okay to me. If you use people's identity as your plot twist or as the climax of your story, I'm out. I don't think that that's funny. I think if you have those elements in your story, as in like a character is discovering their identity, is discovering their sexuality, that's okay to have in your story, obviously, but like in a thriller context, it's just plain wrong to have it be a plot twist, in my opinion. So steering clear from all of that drama and all of that bigotry. I hope I don't get hate for this one. I am really tired of overprotective, over-masculine male characters. Territorial, really on the borderline of abusive male characters. I am so tired of seeing it, and I will use a specific example for this. I don't think this is a spoiler, but any book by Sarah J. Maas. Don't get me wrong, I had a Sarah J. Maas phase. Her books are like candy. I just couldn't stop eating her books up. I loved them because I loved her female characters. I was like, okay, can your female characters just like get together and form a pirate crew and just leave all the men behind and go off on an adventure on their own? Because her teenaged boys were so messed up to me. They were all hyper masculine, they were hyper territorial, and just overprotective of their women to the point where I was like, is this abuse? Like, this feels a little abusive to me, how controlling some of ththese men are. That ain't it. That screams of like toxic masculinity, and I'm not here for it. I don't want to read male characters like that anymore. I'm not okay with it. Number 7, I think, is pretty straightforward. It's girl hate, or not like other girls. So this is one I haven't seen in a while, but it's basically when a character, specifically a female character, will think about how much better they are. They think that they're better than other girls. And specifically when they look down on more feminine girls, you know, the girls that like shopping and makeup and high heels and blah 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 blah, and then there's, you know, but I'm the nerdy girl and I like football and I'm so different. Like, that again is not okay with me. I really don't like that. When girls bash other girls in stories, it's also really troubling. Like, I want to see positive female interactions between female characters in my books. I'm really just, I don't want to read about, you know, the one girl who has a harem of guy friends, and she just hates on every other girl or woman in her society. I'm not here for it anymore. Ooh, this one hurts. And I should read you my whole note on this. Epilogues or final chapters that have characters who have babies or get married when the whole series the character actively expressed that they don't want to have children or get married. Hunger Games. Oh! The entirety of that book, of that series, Katniss is like, I don't want to have babies. I don't want to have babies. I don't want to have babies. And what does she do in the epilogue? She ends up both married and with multiple children. And it makes me sad. These are some of my favorite books of all time, and it still has that trope. So, in a similar vein as the last one is when every character in a book is coupled at the end. So there are exactly 8 characters in the book, and they each get paired off, so it's 4 couples at the end. It's so boring. And some of these like high fantasy novels in young adult and adult, in those two genres, like, they're going through some stuff. So the fact that everyone is like in these happy relationships at the end really doesn't make sense, because they're going through some really traumatic stuff throughout the course of this book. So not only did you like go through all this trauma, but you found a healthy, stable relationship at the end, and you expect us to believe that those are lasting relationships? Yikes. I don't think it's realistic. All right, the last trope I have is I don't think it's a trope, but it's something that I found in books that I really don't like, and that is rewarding bad behavior. And specifically, I have a book that specifically fits this, and that is Ready Player One. I hate Ready Player One, specifically because of this story element. So main character is named Wade Watts, and Wade begins a relationship in this book in the virtual world that they play their video game in, okay? He starts a relationship with another player, and she, through the course of the book, breaks up with him and says, I need to focus on my own thing and my own objectives. We're done. And instead of respecting her boundaries, Wade stalks her. He stalks her in the real world so he can find out who she is and beg her to take him back. And he calls her repeatedly. He tries to get in contact with her all the time. Absolutely disgusting. And then, of course, in the end of the book, he gets the girl. He gets to be with her in the end. She forgives him for his transgressions. No. Not okay. Not okay. We do not reward bad behavior in this household. I am not okay with this. That is the reason I gave this book 1 star. There were some fun elements in it, and I even liked the 80s references, but the fact that we are rewarding men and male characters for stalking women, that is not okay with me. So I don't know of any other book off the top of my head that has this in it. I'm fortunate enough to have skirted these types of books, but let me know if you have read any books with any of these 10 tropes so I know to avoid them. Anyway, this is a little bit of a more negative video for me, but now you know that of 10 tropes that I dislike in my books. So let me know some of your least favorite tropes in the comments down below, and also give me some books to avoid in the comments down below with these tropes, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.